Hello students, I am Dr. D. Sumati from Avinashalingam University. Welcome to E-Pathsala. Today let us see the topic communication. Introduction. Communication is a frequent part of their life because people communicate so often it is sometimes assumed to be a simple process that anyone can master. People who find their ideas misinterpreted or ignored, and those who try to listen to someone who is mumbling or rambling, recognize and communication is a step toward improving its effectiveness. Technological advances have caused changes in the speed with which communication can take place, and people can be informed of happenings anywhere in the world. These technological abilities help to communicate with each and every part of the world almost simultaneously. Many changes at community and family levels are predictated by present communication systems and new inventions. Every other day, new inventions are uploaded on mobiles and internet communication systems. Thus, with the revolution in the communication technologies, world seems to shrink to the level of global village. E-marketing, e-buying, online payment of bills, payment through mobiles, etc. are some of the current examples of advanced technologies in communication. Working from home, studying through online educational programs, searching information on any topic from internet has become an integral part of the social system. Objectives. The objectives of this lesson are to understand meaning and significance of communication, to become aware of the key elements in communication, and to give clear-cut idea about means of effective communication. Now let us see the meaning, definition and significance of communication. The word communication means to share. Communication among family members and members of near environment is closely interwoven. Its significance as a separate process has not been widely recognized. People often overlook communication because it is taken for granted. Definition. Communication is the process of human interaction that involves generating, organizing and sending ideas to one or more receivers. The emphasis is on interpersonal interactions in an effective process of communication. The meaning sent in a message should be comparable to meaning received. Many people have defined communication according to various purposes. The definition most applicable to family situation is given by Benvenu as communication is a process of transmitting feelings, attitudes, facts, beliefs and ideas between living things, and interpersonal communication includes all means by which individuals influence and understand each other. The Buchanan defines communication as a two-way reciprocal process of relating oneself to others and includes any action or actions by which meanings are shaped implicitly or explicitly. Significance of communication. It is an integral part of the social system. The highly integrative nature of communication in family and social systems stresses the importance of seeing communication as a complete process. It should be seen as a dynamic force in human development, interactions, and in managerial behavior of the families. New communication technologies have a great impact on family and society, but communication patterns which develop among family members are equally significant. Home is the place for growing up, and therefore people should design ways to improve and enjoy communication among its group members. Family has since long been considered as a managerial unit. In earlier phases of the development of discipline, homemaker alone was considered as the manager of the family because she was greatly responsible for management of family resources. However, with changing role of the homemaker, the contribution of all family members to household management has increased and is being recognized. Thus, communication patterns which are necessary for delegation of work responsibilities and feedback have come to occupy a very important place in family resource management. Sharing of communication is regarded as a dynamic force which influences family style of management. Improved levels of communication are consciously sought by many families. Communication is important in good quality of life. A family will not be able to demonstrate values, achieve goals, or meet their needs without some interpersonal communication. The development of human resources, decision making, skills, and the managerial processes all involve communication. The purpose of communication is to change or to maintain behavior. The family members express their needs and desires through communication. Confusion or lack of understanding of communication can frustrate goal attainment. People can influence their personal and social environment through communication. Behavior of a person can be influenced by radio, television, neighborhood gossip, classroom noise, a pat on the back, or a frown on the face. This is because people constantly communicate, and the ways in which family members interact with each other often becomes a habit. People feel that communication is a simple process which anyone can master, but people who are misunderstood and who listen to people's mumbling realize that communication is not always easy or effective. Let us see the key elements in communication. Effective communication involves assigning comparable meanings to messages. It helps to clarify individuals' perception and can produce the cooperation needed to reach group goals. An understanding of components of communication helps to develop criteria for assessing effectiveness as communicator. The components of communication are perceiving meanings, sending messages, receiving messages, and providing feedback. First one is perceiving meaning. An individual reacts to the environment in his or her own way, therefore, same stimulus can generate varied responses. Perceptions involve interaction between a person's brain and a stimulus, which can be a situation, an object, or an experience. Biological, psychological, and social factors affect perception. These sensory inputs are combined and meaning is attached to what is seen, felt, heard, smelt, or tasted. These combinations of sensory inputs over a period of time lead to conclusions which form the basis for future behavior. Perception may or may not conform to what is happening, as they may have ignore some details and emphasize others, or may vary with intentions and experiences of the perceiver. The degree of influence in a message depends partly on the accuracy with which the message conforms to the receiver's perception. Next one is sending messages. The sending of the messages is the second component of communication. Within this, the part of the processes, the sender may wish to consider if all ideas, facts, or feelings to be communicated. People may demonstrate the value of privacy by consciously withholding personal information. Other information may be irrelevant to a relationship or to a specific situation. If an idea, feeling, or experience is to be shared, it is then coded into words or other expressions. It can be helpful to clarify the purposes of messages in order to select apt codes. Ideas, feelings, or experiences are coded into words or other expressions to be shared with others. The codes or symbols must be such that they are understood by others if communication has to occur. Messages could be verbal or non-verbal. The non-verbal symbols include touch, that is hug or handshake, body movements, that is nodding or smiling, and sensory movements, that is road, signs, sirens, painting, graphs, etc. Apart from this, the tone and rhythm of the voice also conveys meaning. People who emphasize word choice in speaking or in listening without considering other forms of communication may face problems of accuracy in interaction, because sometimes words convey different idea and non-verbal symbols convey another. Next one is channel for communication. The most used channel for face-to-face communication is sound waves through the air. It includes extraneous sounds such as conversations, television sound, noise from fan, etc. It is slow in comparison to other communication channels such as wires or cables, as people generally talk at average rate of 125 words per minute, and sound waves are adequately fast to handle interpersonal face-to-face communication. Radio, telephone, and television are some other media for communication. The selection of any of the above channel influences speed and exactness of a message as well as the forms of communication that can be used. Compared to letters, the speed of the telephone and mobiles is more immediate, as both words and tone of voice are combined and feedback of some form is assured. Then third one is receiving messages. Some people can listen to more words per minute than others. It is found that average speaking is 125 words per minute, but listening rate is 400 words per minute. Difference in this rate can be used by the listener to understand the meaning of the message. Applying this knowledge, variable rate tape recorders allow receivers to increase the speed of a record message without making the speech unintelligible. In face-to-face communication, listeners can use the difference in speaking and listening rates to concentrate on the meaning of a message, to prepare an argument, to daydream, or for a number of other purposes depending on the interest in center and the message. The message is decoded by the receiver in terms of personal experience. If the communication is unrelated or the listener is not paying attention to the message, the communication could end there. As the words can be used in varied ways and other forms of the communication are combined with words, sensitive receivers consider both the meaning and the context of communication in addition of words. Interpreting interpersonal communication too literally without concern for intent or context can minimize effectiveness of communication. Empathy can help listeners to sort out confusing messages and determine its meaning. Receivers are influenced not only by what is said but also by confidence of the sender. People prefer relationship with those holding similar ideas and beliefs. Therefore, a person is more receptive to messages that are based on religious, political, philosophical, or other notions similar to their own beliefs. The meanings attached to the messages are likely to be misunderstood if there is distrust, fear, or lack of confidence in a sender's abilities. Intended receivers may be able to decode the message more accurately if receiver is directly involved in the relationship with the sender. Hearing a part of the message could cause misunderstanding. When people other than the intended receivers are involved, it is possible that the content and forms of the communication would be changed. The retention of the message is short-lived and therefore reinforcement through seeing, hearing and touching can help people to remember messages that have been received. Because of the vast variety of messages received every day, people screen what they receive, accept some and ignore others, alter some meanings and reject still others. At times, the messages can be altered by receiver to such an extent that the sender no longer can recognize the message. If the idea or experience is shared several times by several people, as in case of gossip, meaning may be seriously distorted. One-way messages stop after the decoding of message by the receiver. Such one-way communication is organized in presentations, eliminates noise, is fast and offers little or no challenge to the sender's power or expertise. But its limitation is that the sender does not know the receiver has understood the meaning of the message. To correct misconceptions and expand knowledge, a two-way communication is of great help. The next one is feedback. Feedback is the process of returning information, usually with the intention of influencing behavior. Thus, feedback turns one-way communication into a cycle. That is, sender to the receiver, then the feedback is seen in the diagram. In a meeting, people may not speak out, but their behaviors like falling asleep, yawning, fidgeting, etc. send messages to the speaker. These non-verbal messages may or may not be correctly interpreted and or even ignored by the speakers. Misinterpretation of non-verbal communication could either reduce speakers' confidence or can create a false sense of confidence. In oral exchange between the people, the receiver takes the role of sender by asking questions and reacting to messages. This interaction is rapid. Other type of communication can involve a number of sequences of sending and receiving and are called chains or loops. It is not necessary that communication results in changes in behaviors. At times, receiver understands messages but will not change behavior as the message may conflict with his or her motivations. Also, if the proposed behavioral changes appear too difficult or too complex, it may be rejected as unrealistic. Some people feel that in such cases, communication has been ineffective. The next one we will see means of effective communication. As communication is interrelated to decision making, the purpose of communication are closely related to purposes of decision making by families. These purposes include, first one, to promote future oriented managerial processes. It is one of the purpose of communication. With increasing economic abundance and technological advancements and abundance of the economic goods and services, families in future will be faced with more complex choices. They would need to consider long-term consequences of their decision. The process of goal setting and long-term planning would be important for families. Skills, including that of communication, need to be developed for effective management. New attitudes related to the realistic anticipation of future needs have to be developed. Next one is to keep family moving. Relative consistency needs to be maintained within integral environment in our day-to-day household managerial activities. Routine procedures with daily activities and similar timings can be developed and utilized by family members. In such setting, family communication which takes place between families and their paid help or with persons in their near environment is also important in daily management to keep family and its social functions going. Third one is to maintain family interactions. Developing of satisfying types of interactions among family members is a goal which most families have, even though they may not be conscious of it. Communication which occurs among family members while performing their household managerial activities contributes their overall goal of improved interactions. Next one is to exchange information and understanding. The household tasks provide opportunity to husband and wife to communicate with each other and also with children. It also provides to other family members to communicate with each other, thereby developing better understanding among them. The next one is to promote training and socialization of children. Parents are generally trying to teach their children ways to perform household managerial tasks with certain amount of guidance or independence. Various communication tactics are utilized by parents to train their children for managerial tasks. However, there is a great potential to teach children about household managerial tasks through effective communication. The next one is communication is a basic to family cooperation. There is a need for continued cooperation within the family between families and other social units. The problem is how this cooperation can be maintained over a lifetime. It is suggested that collaboration should be used to achieve coordination and cooperation. Collaboration implies persons while interacting regard themselves as members of the same system or group who is pursuing same goals and adopting methods of mutual adjustment. The family system of collaboration may change over time and could be modified or shifted when some goals are achieved and new ones take their place or when family members leave the family unit. The next one is family can revise or renew their day-to-day cooperation in communication. The creative management involves encouraging special abilities of family members like judgment, motivation, leadership, sense of responsibility, etc. in family-centered tasks. Communication plays a central role in achievement of this goal. To conclude, communication is an ongoing process which goes on between people. It is an occasional or incidental behavior. People cannot stop communicating or being communicated with. Communication can be compared with basic needs of eating and breathing. It is important for a person's intellectual and emotional existence. It involves flow of information. At interpersonal level, it is used by individuals to relate themselves to each other and through which they affect their cooperative endeavors. In a family, communication occurs as a managerial functions of the family and plays an important role. Thus, communication processes are crucial processes which enable and determine the conditions, operations and interrelationships of all living systems. Thus, the essence of human relations is communicating to and being communicated with. Thank you.